This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman and Riley Smith. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is August 1st, 2022. We're so glad you can join us today. In today's episode of Ag Matters PM, I talk with Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. We had a chat about her visit to Tama County for an event on women in agriculture. We also have a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the close of another day in the ag marketplace for this Monday, and for a bit of analysis, we're going to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what was going on in the grain markets today?
Well, initially, I think there was a lot of pressure based on the first shipment of grain moving out of Ukraine under the agreement they had. There was a lot of iffiness back and forth. Apparently, the first one left and was loaded with 26,527 tons of corn headed for Lebanon. So that was one of the things that, it's a reaction off of that, even though there's some concern about some of the other ones finding enough crew to ship them out. How that's all going to continue to unfold, but it was a reaction. The other reaction was a little bit of cooler temperatures that have been put into the forecast, periods of intense heat, and then some cooler forecast or cooler weather coming in between those periods of intense heat, mainly in the Corn Belt area, not the Western Corn Belt, but in the more centralized Corn Belt area. That was another thing that helped a lot as far as increase the potential for maybe more production. Instead of last week, all we heard was how hot it was going to be, and it's still going to be hot. There's no question about it, but if you get a little bit of relief from some of that, it can help quite a bit. So those two things mainly combined probably put more of the pressure on the market, but beans were hit the hardest. Because I think the demand is good, but the concern that we had there over how this hot weather was going to come through during the period of time when we have pollination over the next 2 weeks. And so that takes a little bit edge off the market. Now, it's been interesting that we've heard some reports that fungicide orders have been canceled in numerous different areas because farmers didn't want to put any more onto the crop because they're already seeing some aborting of some of the flowers falling off. They're afraid that we're going to see some aborting of pods. Now, that's all going to be up to the next couple of weeks here, get some rain, but we could get some regrowth on that, some new added stuff. But that's an interesting scenario that's coming through that we're hearing. And I know sometimes we're a little more gloom and doom when we see dry periods of time. And in the end result, it may not be quite as bad. But to see that information coming through, but yet being hit hard on soybeans was kind of a unique situation. Now, crude oil was down quite a bit, and sometimes the pressure comes off of beans off of crude oil because they are together, and soybean oil was hit pretty hard again today. Soybean meal was down a lot, but we had strong rallies last week, and that kept kind of probably ran its course. Now, export inspections today, corn was at 33.7 million bushels. That's up 4.1 million from last week. Beans 20.4 million, up 6 million bushels from last week. But wheat was down at 9.4 million bushels, down 8 million bushels from last week. Now, strategic grains in the EU, they cut the sunflower seed forecast due to the impact of the drought. So they're trimming a little bit of that, which we think maybe would support some of the oilseed market. but that wasn't the case today. The market was focused on other things. Now we're looking at a crop condition report this afternoon again. We're expecting a % drop in corn, soybeans, and spring wheat crop conditions.
Right, and of course we know we're on a huge weather market right now, trading on all of that news. Now, in our area, we were looking at, maybe triple digits for most of the week. They've actually laid off on that a little bit, and it's looking a little, still hot, but not quite that bad. Do we think we could see a little bit of support come back into, or maybe just less pressure on the markets? Because, we know the grain markets are always reacting to the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think we'll see a comeback on that. We actually saw it toward the end of today. I mean, corn was struggling quite a bit today. Wheat was down, and just toward the close here, corn came back significantly. Beans didn't, but corn and wheat kind of came back. And I think you're seeing the knee-jerk reaction. You're seeing just the reaction off of the little bit cooler weather, like you said. But overall, every day is important to the maturity of that crop. Now, we still have a kernel fill to go in the corn crop. We're going to have pod fill to go in the soybeans. And if we don't see a lot of rain, even though we see a little bit of trimming of some of the hot weather, it's going to be could have a significant impact.
All right, and what are we seeing on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex?
Well, cattle were able to capitalize on some of the weakness in the corn market, particularly now. Not so much in live cattle. They were struggling a little bit. There's a concern that cash might be lower again this week. Packers have been able to buy ahead, so they haven't been aggressive in the market. So there's some concern we could still see some weakness again this week as far as the cash is concerned. But boxed beef was up today with choice up $1.26, select up $1.44. Now that's at the noon report. The closing report, the afternoon report is the final one for the day, and that can vary somewhat. Now choice cuts are running right in line with last year, so not a lot of different change there. But the key is really going to be boxed beef. Are we going to continue to see a little bit of advancement in boxed beef, or are we going to stall out again like we've seen a number of weeks? So the live cattle struggled a little bit today, even though they were supported to some degree. But feeder cattle did see more support off of the lower corn prices, being up triple digits. Not a lot of fundamental news under than the feeder cattle have been showing higher cash prices on the auctions the last couple of weeks. So there is some interest there to buy feeder cattle to potentially look at a higher market for selling, as we move into the fall, into next year. Now, in the hogs were struggling today. They stayed within a fairly narrow price range. After last week, last week was phenomenal. They had a banner week. We pushed higher primarily in the front months. August made some phenomenal gains. There's numerous chart gaps underneath that contract that in essence, you could say technically they need to be filled. However, we've got less than 2 weeks to trade on that August contract, and I don't think we're going to fill all those gaps. Maybe we could fill one of them or so, but we're not going to see that because the index is rising. We've had some strong cutouts in that market. Now, they were lower today at the midday report, down $1.74, but they've been trending higher, and that's because of the strong demand. Now, if we follow the same pattern we've seen the last number of weeks, we'll see strong cash again on Tuesday and possibly Wednesday. That's been the pattern. 2 weeks or 2 days of strong cash, and it's usually been Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we see it slow down. So it's almost like we're making 2 steps ahead and 1 step back as far as cash and cutouts. So I see some real good support under the hogs. Hog weights have been declining. They're down 1.4 pounds from a year ago, and they're continuing to decline. And this heat that we're having is probably going to trim some of the weights a little bit more. So I see some decent support under there. Plus, we've got a $24 discount of the October to August. And if we follow the same pattern we are now, that's going to have to come up and close that gap.
All right, Robin, lots of great information today. For those of our listeners and our watchers who would like to learn more and get in touch with the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
They can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to our website, agmarket.net. The phone number's on there, other contact information. We'd be glad to have you call.
All right, Robin, it's been great talking with you today, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
All right, thank you. It's always a pleasure being on.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. September corn is down 9 1/4 at 6.07 even. December corn down 10 1/4 at 6.09 3/4. August soybeans down 42 3/4 at 15.94 1/4. November soybeans down 62 1/2 at 14.06 even. Soybean meal down 12.70 at 429.70. Soy oil down 241 at 64.09. Chicago wheat down 7 1/2 at 800 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 11 1/2 at 894 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 8 even at 866 1/2. And September oats down 7 1/2 at 440 1/2. On the Merc, August live cattle up 32 at 136.77. August feeders up 107 at 179.65. August lean hogs down 20 cents at 120.45. Pork cutout down a dime at 125.97. And Class 3 milk down 2 cents at 20.39. And that's been a check of the Ag Market Recap here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I have some of my conversation with Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, I had a chat recently with Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson about her visit to Tama County and talking with some women in agriculture. She shared a bit on how she is out there to listen to those women in agriculture and help them kind of become more accustomed to the industry and get any head start if they need it. Well, we're here with Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson just to talk about a few things that have been going on recently. So first off, Congresswoman, let's talk a bit about your visit to Tama County last week, just about things going on, and especially with women in agriculture.
Absolutely. You know, it was really great to have kind of an outdoor roundtable discussion with so many great women in ag. And this is a program that is truly designed to bring women together and conduct educational programming. So not only was it about, you know, how to do rotational crops, how to do rotational grazing, for example, like one of the hosts did, but it was also to talk about programming like taxes and how do you handle rent payments and how do you, as a woman, run your own business side of the operation. Many of the women who are maybe have been farm wives are now finding themselves in a new situation with maybe the loss of a spouse. And so it was just really fascinating to learn about how they are using this as a community building tool, but also a true educational tool for women in the agriculture space.
There's so many women who are the farmer on the farm and running the operation. And it's, you know, I'm sure it was just, you know, like you said, a great opportunity there, and just how important is that, you know, diversity for agriculture.
Well, yeah, and it was really about sharing that wealth of knowledge, right? You've got a lot of women who are on the business side, right? And making sure they're communicating that and expressing that to other women in the industry and in the field. It was interesting too. You look at how many people are typically showing up at these, and they're doing these. They're starting to do them in counties around the state, and they're getting 20 to 30 women, and sometimes men are even showing up too. So it's not just specifically women, but it's really focused on, again, providing really value-added programming that's helping people to be better stewards of their land, helping people to be better business people, and helping people run better operations. So just a really, really great program, and was excited to learn more about it.
Right. So, you know, maybe let's just dive a little bit more into that program. You know, do they have other sessions coming up, and, you know, where all do they meet for this?
Yeah. So it's kind of rotating, really. I mean, they have women who are hosting these events at their farms. They're using community buildings. And again, they have USDA grant dollars coming in to help. But I just thought, when you look at the expansion of this program, and again, it's not in every single county, but they're hoping to scale it up, right? They're hoping to continue to expand and get more interest in the program throughout the state. So I would just encourage any woman watching or any man who knows that they have a woman who might be interested in programming about tax, about they had one that was on beekeeping. They had one on, like I said, rotational grazing. So if you're interested in that kind of programming, that's what this program is really about. It's providing those educational tools to people truly at kind of a grassroots community level in terms of getting the program started. So I hope it expands to all of 99 counties in Iowa. We're starting to see some really good growth of the program in my district, and it's not in every single county. So I'll be doing everything I can to continue to talk about it and get it to spread further.
Right, and not only are we seeing educational benefits from it, but of course, even just from you and I talking about it right now, we're bringing awareness to it. There might be a lot, like you said, of spouses who maybe they lost their spouse and
Right.
they have to take over running the farm, and just bringing awareness to that to maybe others who are in that same situation, other women in agriculture who just need to learn more, they can find it out.
Right. And it was interesting. One of the stories that was shared at our little discussion on Friday was that one of the women who had attended this, at the time, she didn't find the information valuable. And then she realized after her parents passed away, oh, yeah, this is now what I need to do. I know those steps of how to handle this situation because I heard it talked about at this forum. So I think it's great to just continue to have a wide breadth of knowledge in the space. And again, this is about trying to diversify your knowledge base. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that they were, holding sessions on beekeeping. We need more pollinators, right? In Iowa, that's something I think that we are very, very concerned about long term is the longevity of, our flora and fauna and making sure we have pollinators. So that's a great way where we can continue to maybe even help someone support a new business. Maybe somebody's deciding that that's their next venture. So I just think it was a really a neat program, a neat tool. And some really, really neat women helping to run it. I'm encouraging them to get out and talk about it too. So maybe you'll get a call from them too. But I said, go on the radio. Let's spread the word about this program around the state. So they're really doing some great things.
That again was Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. As for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, if you were outside this weekend, you noticed it was getting pretty hot and muggy, and well, that trend will continue here this week. Tomorrow, even in Des Moines, we're looking at triple digits and possibly continuing that hot trend throughout most of this week. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see here from the National Weather Service, it's sunny and getting warmer. Today, it'll be partly cloudy to mostly sunny and warm. Temps range from the mid-80s to low 90s. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a few scattered clouds and slight chances of spotty storms. Lows overnight should range from the low 60s to low 70s. Tomorrow we'll have sunny skies and hot temperatures. There is a heat advisory in place for central and western Iowa and a slight chance for morning storms in the east. Highs will be in the upper 80s to upper 90s. Looking at the affiliate weather map right now, as you can see for tomorrow, Cherokee will be sunny with a high of 97, Shenandoah sunny and a high around 98, Des Moines sunny and hot with a high of 98 as well, Albia sunny and hot and 96, Waterloo mostly sunny and 94, and Clinton is looking to be mostly sunny as well with a high of 89. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can find all of our previous episodes of AM PM as well as our other video content on our YouTube channel, so make sure to go over there and subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our twice free daily market podcasts on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Avery Haskell and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.